without saying that the journalism industry has grown alongside technological advancements, and journalists have had to learn how to adapt to the ever-changing media landscape.
With the world facing the COVID-19 pandemic, newspapers have been severely affected by losses in advertising revenue. Journalists have been laid off and some publications have stopped. Journalists have worked to combat misinformation in providing accurate public health updates. With all this happening, how do we as the future journalists prepare ourselves to head into the industry that is already facing an uncertain future? Where do we go from here?
As journalism students, it is important we understand the ways in which the industry has evolved with technology, especially now since the pandemic has affected this development. So we present to you two journalism alumni to share their experiences and insights on the evolution of journalism in the age of digitalization.
Kalau nak katakan perubahan, beberapa tahun sebelum ini pun media kita akan sentiasa berubah. Berubah dari segi penggunaan ataupun saluran yang untuk menyampaikan berita. Kalau dulu kita gunakan saluran newspaper untuk sampaikan maklumat, sekarang dah ada media sosial dan sebagainya. Poin saya dekat sini adalah apapun perubahan ataupun evolusi yang berlaku dalam platform media ini, dia bukannya menjadi satu masalah pun kepada kita. Jangan fikir, okey, kita dah beralih kepada aspek ataupun penggunaan digital. Kita dah risau. Kita kena macam belajar semua benda ni. Tak payah risau pun. Sebab it's just alat untuk kita gunakan. Semacam kita boleh belajar pun, kita boleh menyesuaikan dengan alat-alat baru seperti inilah. Tapi mungkin akan menjadi masalah kepada wartawan-wartawan yang lama, yang 20 atau 30 tahun yang lepas, yang mungkin ada segelintir dalam kalangan mereka yang masih terikat dengan cara lama. Wabak ni kira macam mengajar saya, tak kira dalam keadaan sekalipun, kita menggunakan apa sahaja caralah untuk membolehkan berita tu dihasilkan, tanpa kita perlu ke sidang media secara fizikal, secara bersemuka pada orang semua kan. Even secara online pun kita boleh buat berita kita, kan. Macam kalau ada orang buat PC secara live ke apa, kita buat je lah secara live, buat macam biasa, tulis berita apa semua. Kalau tak boleh jumpa orang tu, call saja. Diorang akan jawab jugalah macam mana kan. So macam COVID-19 ni bukanlah alasan untuk kita tak boleh menyelesaikan tugasan yang diberikan lah. Apapun keadaan, tugasan tetap satu keutamaan lah.
I think it's pretty obvious the moment that we can see most of the nations, like even Malaysia actually, we are heading towards digitalization, as you can call it lah kan. When we talk about digitalization, we automatically are talking about technology, how advanced it will be and how advanced it is right now. So it is getting easier and we are getting much more connected with the changes. But when we have too much freedom, too much easy work, we tend to forget that it is actually challenging when we are talking about how to differ between fake and true news macam tu kan. That's when ethics and juga professionalism comes into our mind. Everyone is becoming so opinionated, as we can see from social media kan. People tweet something and then it can easily create havoc. Scary. It's even scarier from the pandemic itself. One misleading or misinformation yang kita sebab kepada orang, it can create such panic tu yang saya rasa macam menakutkan. So it is challenging, but it is easier juga. So, it depends on how we utilize it and how we perceive it and how we as a user juga, walaupun kita juga provide content, but we are also a user juga kan. Kita pun baca juga pasal artis, pasal news, pasal lain-lain. So I can come to a conclusion that it is challenging juga, walaupun in a way it's easy.
The pandemic outbreak has become the catalyst for various industries' evolution towards digitalization. Society has been shifting towards adapting to virtual-based platforms, and this can be seen in the education sectors and also the media industry.
Despite the challenges that we face in the field today, there is still hope for the future of journalism as media practitioners strive to adapt to these changes by expanding their skills and developing a solid resilience for any challenges that come their way. Remember, with evolution, the only way to move forward is for us to evolve as well. My name is Alia Zafri.
And I'm Shazwan Mustafa, reporting for Sasaran.
Okay, hi everyone. So let's continue to our very last session of today's event. All the way from across the border, we would like to welcome our third and final panelist. To say that she is worldly in the communication industry would be an understatement. She earned a bachelor's degree from the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, University of Indonesia, and pursued her master's degree in transnational communication and global media in Goldsmiths College, University of London, under the prestigious British Chevening Scholarship. Previously well known as a journalist with Tempo magazine for 16 years, she has published a number of remarkable political and investigative stories in Indonesia. She forged a path in academia when she started teaching in the communication program in University of Indonesia and Bina Nusantara University International, or better known as Binus University. Currently, she serves as head of communication program in Binus. Please welcome Ms. Andari Karina.
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha. My daughter also Aisha. Yeah, the name of my daughter is also Aisha. It's a beautiful name. Hello, everyone. It's 2 p.m. in Jakarta time. Yeah, 3 p.m. in Malaysia. Thank you again for having me. Can everybody hear my voice clearly? Yeah.
Yes, we can all hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So. Who will help me to share the screen?
All right, just a second. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
put up the
thank you.
slides now.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, Basically, what I am going to discuss today, I will add some more from Indonesian experience. Yeah, some of the general thing, but lots of examples from Indonesia. The topic or the angle given to me is about the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah, it is very obvious that we always see that things in our neighbor, ya, rumput tetangga lebih hijau, ya, maybe because they pay more water bill. So I think each country, each of us have different background and condition. So we will see whether the grass is actually greener or maybe because there are other issues in the grass itself. Okay, next please. Yeah, this is me. Previously, I was a journalist, but now I focus on my new path as a lecturer. Yeah, me with the pink hijab. Yeah, not the white covered with bedak or something. Next. Okay. So to start this presentation, I will share with you the famous quotation from Director General of WHO, uh, Tedros Adhanom. He mentioned that we are not just fighting an epidemic, but we are fighting an infodemic. Okay, so uh, it is like a good quotation to start our discussion because, of course, the epidemic itself, the crisis caused by COVID-19, it's dangerous, but the infodemic, the information, the hoax, the tsunami of information is actually also dangerous in different way. Yeah, we will take a look. Next. Okay, so in Indonesia, maybe I could start with the condition of or the uh, uh, what do you call it? Like the history of media. If we may differentiate pers or media in journalism in Indonesia, I think we can use two different measurements. The first one is before and after Reformation, Reformasi, ya, 1998, 98. Before we don't have any press freedom. We have to have like a specific political license to produce or to create publication. Even for a journalist, if you want to publish something, not only your organization have to own license, which actually a political license, but also the journalists themselves, they also have to have like a license. Fail to have those kind of license to join the organization owned by and controlled by the government means you are illegal, quote unquote illegal. Yeah. So at any time you can go to jail because you're considered illegal, or you have to publish something but underground. Yeah. I myself at that time work as a journalist, and whenever we want to publish something, it's like it could happen that in the last minute before you publish something, you got a call from a government or from the military that this or that cannot be published. Yeah, so we live in that situation back then. And then after 1998, Reformation, yeah, it's like euphoria. You don't have you have all the press freedom. You don't have a license to produce as long as you have money to have your own media. It's like a mushrooming of the media. So many media uh, as a result of reformasi. And of course, it caused problems as well. Yeah, you know, like for 32 years, you live under pressure, and then suddenly it's open. It's euphoria. You can do whatever you want with the media, right? And it's like a cause of problems or challenge that we still have until today. Okay, so we can move on to the challenges. Yeah, there are some problems or challenges not only caused by the euphoria of press freedom. You know, when you like for a long time was under pressure, and then suddenly you have the right, you are free to do whatever you want. Yeah, this is one of the, and it got worsened during COVID-19 crisis. The first one is false and misleading information, right? I think it similar problems with what you have in Malaysia. To be specific about COVID-19 situation, yeah, there are growing amount of misinformation, and then the fake news spread faster, easy and more easily than this virus, and it's dangerous. And in terms of format, it is quite easy to find any form of hoax, misinformation, disinformation, twisted, manipulated, fabricated, yeah, those kind of information. And the news media have to compete, yeah, I put the quote unquote, with WhatsApp and social media information from those groups, yeah, which sometimes tend to be mis or disinformation or even misleading. Okay, next I will try to give some example. Next slide, please. Okay, we have 1 hour, yeah, until this end of the session, yeah. Okay, so this is the first the data from katadata.co.id, one of the media in Indonesia that specialize on providing data. This is one of source of information during pandemic. And sadly, yeah, I don't know, sadly or luckily, yeah, number one is media social, yeah, social media. So you have the source of information, social media, which we know clearly that it is not verified yet. Social media, it's not a newsroom. I mean, some newsroom use social media to share their content or their news, but social media can also like the platform to share hoax or false news as well. Today, for example, yeah, in the morning, I already got like lots of hoax from several WhatsApp group that I followed, including one from my family, big family WhatsApp group. I don't know whether these issues also occur in Malaysia. You join like lots of WhatsApp or line, and then in the morning you got from your aunt or from your uncle or maybe from your dad or your mom, yeah, that minyak kayu putih can cure COVID, and then next day you got information that drink lemon every day can cure COVID, and then this and that. Yeah, so many. Now the famous topic in Indonesia is vaccine, because just yesterday the president just announced that it will be free from for all citizens, and the president will be the first person in the country to get the vaccine. Yeah. Okay, next. And then this is the COVID-19 related misinformation. I think it's not only in Indonesia, but in Malaysia and other country as well, but it also happened in Indonesia. The first one, public authority action or policy. As you might aware, in Indonesia, we have like a heat tension, like a polarization after the presidential election. So when you talk about everything, people will like automatically relate to the either you support Jokowi or maybe support the opponent back then, Prabowo, or maybe these two big groups. And now the big groups of polarization in Indonesian media or Indonesian public, like first, like the maybe radical Muslim groups, and the other one maybe like a moderate or more like quote unquote like liberal one, something like that. It's so easy to label these two groups. Well, actually, it's not 100% accurate, but those groups, those polarization in the media will affect how people react to any action from the government. So it's not the it's not the song, but the singer. Yeah, public policy. It's like lots of critics, lots of information on the media, and then community spread, how the virus spreading, this and that, and then medical advice. Yeah, of course, and then prominent actors. In Indonesia, one of the hot issues that created debate on social media and on the media about who own the vaccine company, who will get benefit, whether it is from China or not. Like those prejudice and racism issues also plays important part in the discussion. Yeah, I'm not saying whether it's correct or not, because this also the source of misinformation sometimes. Next, it's also about the conspiracy. Yeah, of course, you know from the beginning, transmission of the virus origins, the public preparedness, and then about the vaccine. Yeah, it's all about the hot issues, the misinformation related to COVID-19, the pandemic. Okay, I think it's similar in Malaysia, but more specific in different countries. Next. Okay, so the second one, yeah, problems during this pandemic in Indonesia. I think lots of media, news media, online, TV, print, and other format has been severely impacted by the pandemic. Advertising revenue decline, and there are lots of layoffs and closure of the media. It's not only maybe some of them already had problems previously, but it got worsened because of the COVID-19. Next, yeah, we can see that this is the data from AJI, Alliance of Independent Journalists in Indonesia. In 8 months, they have received numbers of reports that some media companies have cut wages, delayed salary payment, laid off, and many other issues with the journalists and the media. And then the second one, yeah, from Asosiasi Media Cyber Media, even worse, yeah, from the survey to its more than 300 members on May, yeah, it's May, stated that they can only survive for 4 to 5 months. June, July, August, September, October. I think it's 5 months already, and we confirm this survey. Many collapse because of the pandemic. Next, I think this is some examples. Even media as big as Tempo, Koran Tempo, yeah, I previously worked in Tempo magazine. They stopped the print edition, changed to digital. And Jakarta Post, yeah, they also prepare for layoffs. Jakarta Post is the biggest English-based English language newspaper in Indonesia, in Jakarta. So it happened. We talk about like the big player in here. Yeah. So you can imagine what happened to the small player or even the local media. Yeah. So many sad stories from them. Next, yeah. The challenge with the pandemic, yeah, how we adapt, how journalism change is data availability and credibility. You know, information change rapidly due to new scientific finding or maybe new updated data, numbers, policy. So it can cause changes in information, and it can also be like the source of misinformation. Yeah, I will show you the examples later in the upcoming slides. And then the next one is access to information, how you are able to get the information. Maybe information is a lot, it's everywhere, it's like a tsunami of information out there, but do you have, or do the media have access to the information? And then what kind of information that you or the media should get? You know, in Indonesia, sometimes we have lots of data sources from one kementerian to others, or maybe from one organization to others. Yeah, so the access may be one of the issues. And then sometimes there are conflicting information from the authorities, right? And then the next one is the credibility of data and news sources. Because we are dealing with crisis in here, yeah, we cannot like use random data, any data. It should be a credible one. It should come from the authority or from people who actually the expert from this area. Let me move on to the next slides, yeah, with the examples. This is the examples of how information change rapidly. Next slide, please. Here, in the beginning, we are asked Indonesia to use masker, yeah, of course, until now. And then because of the scarcity of masker, and then there are lots of campaign that we can use masker kain. Yeah, betul. I think it's also the same thing in Indonesia. And later, there are new information that apparently masker kain is not effective to prevent COVID, right? So masker scuba, it's not effective. So this kind of masker which previously announced or informed that it can be used, now we can no longer use it, maybe because there are like new findings or new information about this COVID. It's like a new things for us, right? So we cannot, it's unavoidable that there are changes of information. Next one, yeah, another examples, airborne. Yeah, next slide, please. The airborne transmission, like in the first months of COVID, they said that it's not transmit the virus is not transmit through air, so it's the airborne transmission not exist. But later there are new findings that said that the airborne transmission do exist. Ya, some of the news in Indonesia, COVID bisa menular. Kali ini serius, Sirisi pastikan COVID menular. The word kali ini serius, ya. As if like previously it's not serious, right? So kali ini serius. So then from Kompas diralat, ya, they revise the previous stories about CDC tarik pernyataan that COVID bisa menular lewat udara. These two examples shows how information move faster from time to time, and we have to also journalists have to also update it with the data. And other point is about the I'm reading my slide also in the phone. Conflicting information, right? I think we're not only talking about hoax or misinformation, that is information, but even from the authority, from the government, from the local government compared to like the pemerintah pusat dan pemerintah daerah, ya. Because in Indonesia we have like a peraturan presiden and also peraturan daerah. Of course, it should be focused on the rules from the higher hierarchy, yeah. But sometimes the information or sometimes the statement from politician, from pejabat, yeah, it could cause confusing from the journalist. It could cause another debate in the media. Yeah, so that's why I said data availability and credibility. Not to mention how how social media also contribute in this flood of information. Okay, next, yeah, I will move on to the next slide. On top of those issues, yeah, of course, we have lots of opportunities. Yeah, I think this event and also lots of discussion about pandemic. We are here not to cursing the crisis, like only saying negative things about the crisis, but what we can do, the opportunities that we have to learn from this situation. This crisis is too expensive for us to just let it go without learning anything, yeah, including from the journalism point of view. Okay, so we have lots of opportunities. Next slide, please. Yeah, the first one. This is the trend that have been started before the pandemic actually, but it grows more and more during the pandemic. So because there are problems or difficulties in gathering the news, in doing the report, yeah, I heard from the previous speaker from Astro Awani, yeah, there are we don't have, or they don't have like a freedom to do reporting like before pandemic, yeah. So one of the possibility, one of the opportunity that currently quite popular in Indonesia is by collaborating with other media or organization, non-media organization. Let's say you are going to write about environment, or maybe you want to write about COVID-19 vaccine or something, and you cannot do it alone because you don't have enough resources. Then you can collaborate with other media in the country or outside the country to do the reporting. Yeah. So in this situation, we are no longer. Yeah, of course, we still the competition is there. Yeah, one media compete with another to get the follower, to gain a reader or viewers. But yet, I see one good trend in Indonesia that collaborating with other media or organizations is quite popular. The second one is grant or fellowship from international organization. So in Tempo, for example, it's quite competitive, yeah, but lots of credible news organization in Indonesia get the opportunity to have a grant for reporting, usually about human rights or investigative stories or environment. It's also a good trend, yeah, that media can expand their reporting. They can do more than by having a grant or fellowship. And then number 3 is the fact check organization collaborate with a newsroom. Each newsroom in Indonesia, the good news is they have like a fact check section, yeah, Tempo, Kompas, Detikcom, they all have the fact check section in their media. But there are also like a independent organization who work on fact checking. Mafindo, for example, Masyarakat Anti Fitnah Indonesia. I think it's they collaborate with newsroom to check to confirm every information in the outlet, in the news outlet. And it is I think it's get better because social media like Instagram, Facebook, even Twitter, yeah, they also like automatically check, like provide you with link when you post or share about something. This is like out of topic, yeah, but I remember few weeks ago during U.S. Presidential election, and then in the Twitter from Donald Trump, he claimed that actually he won the election and he demand to do the recount, this and that, yeah, something like that. And then in the Instagram account and in Twitter, it's like a clarification, like an automatic link from Twitter or Instagram saying that this information might be I forgot the actual word, yeah. It might be fake or misleading. Go check the fact, this, yeah. So even the U.S. president, people with men with high power, tetap dicek word by word, apalagi kita gitu ya, orang biasa. So I think it's good that newsroom collaborate with fact check organization and also with social media like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Next, this is some of the collaboration, ya. Since 2016, Tempo collaborate with Global Journalist Investigation, international collaboration for investigative journalists. So they investigate this cross countries case together, and it followed by next please, some other collaboration. Oh, sorry, previous one. Go back here. It followed by some other collaboration. Today, this year, yeah, during COVID, they collaborate with lots of organization, international organization. For example, they doing like economic impact of COVID. So it's not only journalists from Indonesia, but it's also regionally collaborate with regional journalists. Yeah, so I think it's good. So you will have an opportunity to collaborate with media or with journalists from other countries. It also happen. It can also conducted within the country. For example, in Indonesia, it's like it takes lots of energy and money and human resources to reach all provinces or remote areas in Indonesia, right? So instead of like assign one journalist in each province or in each kabupaten, what do you call it in Malaysia? So kabupaten or kecamatan, yeah, like the lower level of government in the area, in the regional level. So they collaborate, some national media, they collaborate with local media. So instead of, so it's like a mutual symbiosis, right? The local media got the opportunity to be published in national media. And the national media can also get the advantages by having the local news. They can save their money, human resources, energy, effort by doing this kind of collaboration. Yeah, I think this is a good trend. Next, please. Okay. It also, one thing that we learned from this pandemic, it started before and its growth during pandemic, some new and not so new business model. Of course, we still have like subscription versus advertising, crowdfunding, quite popular in Indonesia. So people like chip in, in Indonesia we call it patungan, what do you call it in bahasa Malaysia when you chip in for something, crowdfunding. So people we chip in for money to publish news specific topic based on public interest. It worked well in Indonesia for some media. And then subscription for advertising, live journalism, like using utilizing social media, utilizing a lot of platform to do live journalism, which grows a lot during this pandemic. Donor funding, it's also one of the way, even though it's not as sustainable as crowdfunding, maybe just one-time funding, but it works. Micropayment, and the last one is quality journalism. Why I put quality journalism in this part of a new business model? Because in the end, journalism, news or media, it's a business of trust, right? It's a business of how credibility. So if you are able to provide people, your audience, with quality journalism, I believe people will be willing to pay, right, for the quality journalism. It kind of debatable in as well, in Indonesia. We also debate whether it should be free or it should be paid or it should be free. Some mention that journalism or news, whether you pay or it's free, it should be the one with quality. Doesn't mean that if it is free, then it doesn't have any quality with the same with the paid one. Bukan berarti seperti kita membeli barang gitu ya. But in other way, when we talk about journalism, it's also about the work behind the scene. It's also about the way you finance the company, you finance the effort behind the scene to provide the the media. This is like another issues, but I think there are growing concern to provide quality journalism instead of just talking about the how you finance yourself, the media. Next, this is some of the next slide, please. This is one of the examples crowdfunding. Your media asumsi.co. So this is like a example of crowdfunding. So the media, it is the public who discuss or decide what to be published in the this media. They do the crowdfunding. You can learn more about this later. You can Google about this. Next slide, please. This is in Tempo. So crowdfunding. Tempo do a crowdfunding for investigative journalism. Cara baru agar publik lebih berkuasa. So previously it's like one way. The media decide which content that interest. Jadi kita mendikte publik konten apa yang menarik. Tapi through crowdfunding, it is the public, it is the reader or viewer, the audience who decide what they want to see on the media. So in order to do that, they do the crowdfunding, chip in, patungan. Next. The other good news is growing support from a civil society organization. Data is key, of course. I mentioned in the beginning that credibility of data, access to data. So data is key. So lots of organizations actually own and manage the data. As a result, there are growing support from civil society organizations such as Kawal COVID-19, Lapor COVID-19. We can go back. Next slide, please. We can see the examples. So this is the two platform during COVID. They provide information about COVID-19. Yeah, this is from from the society, community. It's civil society organization. This is not from the government. So they help the journalism work. They share the information. They also have the data with their own method, ya, ada di situ kalau nanti teman-teman ingin melihat. So they help journalists to also provide data and information. Next slide, please. Okay, of course, yeah. Sorry, go back to the previous one. Of course, there are issues. Go back to the previous slide, please. Okay. Of course, there are issues. Civil society organization, it's quite growing very good in Indonesia. It started actually when we have election 2014, right? In 2014, kawal pemilu. So because we have like lots of provinces, lot of remote areas, so everybody can like post information in there, curate, and then post it on kawalpemilu.com or .co.id back then. And then because of the political tension back then, people accused that this organization has their own interest. For example, they support this candidate and not that candidate. Yeah. And in the end, when based on the data in Kawal Pemilu, pemenangnya adalah Presiden Jokowi ya sekarang menjadi presiden. Lots of because of the political tension, there are accusing that this organization have their own interest. Yeah, therefore the data like menguntungkan pihak pemenang, dalam hal ini Presiden Jokowi, right? Nah, ketika kelompok yang sama, the similar civil society created Kawal COVID, Pandemic Talk, and some other platform from citizen, and then the platform, it keeps saying, criticizing the government, not criticizing through words, yeah, but through data. For example, if you see later, you can check ya Pandemic Talk or Kawal COVID or informasi seputar COVID. There are lots of information that criticize how the government works on COVID issue in Indonesia. And there are also comments, there are also critics from people that they say, ini situs ini pasti against the government, right? So they don't see the data, they don't see the song, but they see the singer who provide the data, right? When they are happy with the Kawal Pemilu because maybe their candidate win or won the election back then, they considered that this platform is credible. But when this same platform criticizing the government through data, they consider that this civil society organization have their hidden agenda to criticize the government, for example. Yeah, so it's kind of political touch in every issues in Indonesia, yeah, including COVID. Okay, next. I'm just going next slide, please. Yeah, this is a focus on the audience. Yeah, so each newsroom are now no longer no way but more interactive, and they maximize a digital platform to reach audience. Next, please. Yeah, this is some. Next slide, please. Some of the activities from IDN Times, Tempo Media Week. Lots of activities to connect more with the audience. Citizen journalism thingy. Yeah, it's quite developing. All media they allow their readers or viewers to participate. Yeah, I think it's also a good trend during this pandemic. Next, yeah. I still have some slides, but I think I will open for the Q&A, Aisyah, yeah? This is the roles of the media, yeah? We can discuss it during Q&A, yeah? If we still have time, we go through this, but if not, we can just go directly to Q&A. Thank you, Aisyah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Andari. So right now, I would like to prioritize questions from the public. So we'll open the floor. Anyone in the call who has questions?
I see all participants are women, girls. Am I right? I didn't see any boys in here.
There are boys, but I think the boys are quite shy because they don't want to turn on the camera.
It's a girl power. Yay.
Yes, girl power.
Okay, any question or maybe sharing? Do the condition that I just shared to you related to the condition in Malaysia, or it has like a different situation maybe?
Yeah, we actually have a few pre-prepared questions from students, but I was wondering if there is anybody else in the call who maybe would like to ask the question first.
Okay. Let me get, yeah.
Okay, then I can call Farah. Farah has a question for you. Farah, you can ask your question.
Yes, Farah, please. I think it's still on mute. Farah is still on mute.
Hello. My name is Farah Najiha binti Zaini.
Yes, Farah.
Farah, sorry, a bit louder, I think.
Okay, I have a question. What do you think when Indonesian journalist Najwa Shihab interviews empty chair in a place of Health Minister Terawan Agus Putrano? Do you think it is an ethical journalism or just creating controversial issue?
Sorry, I lost you in the beginning. Can you repeat the question?
Okay, what do you think when Indonesian journalist Najwa Shihab interviews empty chair in a place of Health Minister Terawan Agus Putrano? Do you think it is an ethical journalism or just creating controversial issue? Because when that happened, it's like viral at social media.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think maybe I can ask you first. Yeah, before I answer it. Do you think it's like journalism practices or not? From your own point of view, doesn't have to be correct.
I don't think it is quite ethical, but since but I think Najwa Shihab really from the news itself, from the news company itself, released a statement said that they invited Health Minister to come to the show. However, Health Minister declined the offer, so that's why they did that.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't think that for me personally, it is good in one side because people would know what really happened. But in another side, I don't think that journalism should do that because it might creating another controversial issue to the Health Minister itself.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, there are two big groups. Yeah. When seeing these issues, and again, yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, in Indonesia, whatever issues, whatever topic you discuss, whatever crisis you have, people will relate it to politics. People will relate this to pro-Jokowi or anti-Jokowi, right? So for those who support the, what do you call it, like hater and lover, yeah, pros, cons, yeah. Some will think that this is one of the way of the show to criticize the government. Yeah, when they criticize the minister of Jokowi, they consider that they actually criticize the president, right? And this group, they are quite loud in the media, in the social media, telling us that this is not a practice of journalism. Yeah, it's like a way to take down the president. Yeah, this one groups of opinion. Yeah, but the other, they actually support what Najwa Shihab did in the interview, because they considered that the minister should be the person who are responsible, the one who should be like in the front row or of explaining things to public, harus yang maju ke depan untuk menjelaskan. Yeah, so they legitimate this interview, yeah, as a good practices. Yeah. However, again, we cannot see it as black and white. Maybe we could take a look again and what is the definition of journalism, right? I agree with you when you say that in a way maybe it is unethical, not because of the person, but later when she or other interviewer did not get their news sources, they can just do similar thing, yeah, to other sources, because they are not able to get the sources. And don't forget that actually this is also the right of the sources, narasumber, to agree or not agree to be interviewed by someone, right? So it is like the skill that a journalist should have, approach that you should have when you approach sources to talk to you, to speak to your media, right? So you cannot just say that because she or he didn't want to be interviewed, then I can just do imaginary interview or something. Yeah. My question will be, how far or how big is your effort to approach this person? But again, of course, this is like half talk show and journalism as well, right? And if we talk about talk show, if we talk about TV talk show especially, we talk about show, we talk about entertainment, right? Therefore, it should have like a entertaining ways of entertaining way of providing news, right? Entertaining, I'm not saying that the COVID-19 or the crisis is entertaining, but the way you provide the information should be interesting, should be entertaining. Even the information like in war or in crisis, yeah, the media have to find a good angle to make it interesting so that public will get their attention, so public will read, public will views, right? Itu kan prinsipnya media memang. Jadi menurut saya apa yang dilakukan oleh interview tersebut dalam kaitannya dengan menarik audiens untuk menoleh ke isu ini, ya bagus aja. This is important. And the critics to the minister, I think some of them are actually true, ya. But we have to take a look again. Ini bicaranya dalam konteks journalism atau dalam konteks talk show, ya. It's like two different issues when we discussing that. Thank you, Farah. Yeah, we it's lots of debate, of course, in here as well. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for the question. Back to you, Aisyah.
Thank you so much,
Andari. Thank you so much, Ms. Andari, for the question.
Yeah.
We have another question from also a student, Rebecca. Are you here with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Really.
Okay. My name is Rebecca. So I have a question. Since Indonesia is a very huge country, how does actually the government control the news that goes out to the public? And like how up there is the freedom of speech in Indonesia?
That's it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
The first, thank you, Rebecca. The first question, how do the government control the news in all areas in Indonesia? The answer is they don't. Yeah, especially when I mentioned in the beginning, yeah, before, during New Order, before 1998, of course, you are not allowed, I mean, we cannot speak about press freedom, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, because we don't have any, right? It's like a one-way or top-down information from the government or from the official sources only. But now, even if you are in Papua or in Aceh, as long as you have internet access, yeah, maybe I think it's one of the important point to highlight, yeah. Whatever or wherever you are in Indonesia or in Timbuktu or in Tanzania or anywhere, as long as there are access to internet, then it can publish. You can just reach the world, yeah. But if you think the second one is about press freedom, of course there are some. In a way, this kind of freedom also worrying in a way, yeah, because anyone can express anything. They can write. Everybody's like a journalist nowadays. You can just write everything in your social media, in your WhatsApp group, in your any platform, and you can be viral. You can be your content can be shared without having verification, yeah. And I think it's the nature of social media. You can like share and reshare everything. But there are two examples from Indonesia how to prevent. Yeah, the reason from the government back then is to prevent the misinformation and hoax to be shared widely. The first one is when we've just finished the 2019 presidential election, right? And at that time, it's like a very close Jokowi versus Prabowo. And the Prabowo supporter, they do not accept the fact, the result of the quick count and the real count, yeah, the final count that Jokowi wins. So they do protest in front of Bawaslu, Badan Pengawas Pemilu, yeah. And that one thing, but it caused like lots of hoax and misinformation shared through WhatsApp, social media, and all internet platform, right? And at that time, for a few hours, WhatsApp for some areas, which is difficult for us to share, to use, to access internet in Jakarta, yeah, and around the area of demo. Of course, it sparked a debate, yeah, whether it is like part of the way to limit the freedom, yeah. But other opinion says that it is actually needed to be done because they need to stop the they need to stop the mis and disinformation shared at least during the critical few hours. Yeah, there are lots of debates. Yeah, some agree, some are not, and this and that. Yeah, because at that time, if you follow the news, there are also like korban yang tertembak. Ada yang meninggal juga pada saat itu. Jadi situasinya memang cukup panas. And then the second one is from Papua. Yeah. There are lots of issues from this area province Papua. Bahkan ada isu juga soal Papua Merdeka dan sebagainya. They want to separate some of the organization want to be separated from Indonesia, for example. And then lots of human rights issues, lot of separatism issues in Papua. Yeah, that's why the government nowadays, they build a lot of infrastructure in Papua so that they don't feel that what do you call it? In Indonesia we call it anak tiri, ya, tidak diperhatikan oleh pemerintah pusat. But conflict happen in Papua, and there is like one big conflict, and at that time again it shut down the internet through the provider for a few hours. Yeah, of course, later you can still share things, you can still use the internet, yeah. But at that time, the internet like went down. Again, pros and cons, yeah. In a way, it's like it said that it's like limit the freedom of expression, but some supporter agree uh, with that. I'm not saying policy, ya, but action at that time, gitu. Jadi maybe those two examples. So if you ask, is there any way the government control? Tidak ada, tidak seperti masa before reformation, ya. We have to have like a departemen penerangan, ya. Departemen penerangan is like a ministry, the department who actually control the whole content of the media and journalists. But now I think it's bahkan saking terbukanya kebebasan itu, siapapun bisa menulis apapun, menjelek-jelekan siapapun dengan bebas, ya, quote unquote. Of course, now we have undang-undang ITE, transaksi elektronik, ya. Tapi kan itu in a way it can also be seen as a gray area, pasal karet. Jadi apapun yang terjadi di sosial media, di internet, langsung pakai undang-undang ITE, undang-undang transaksi elektronik, ya, semua yang di sosial media. Jadi itu the hope it answer your question. No, we don't, ya, but somehow to certain issues maybe, and it's not like like an official action, official movement from the government, yeah, but maybe case by case and just an example. Thank you, Rebecca. Hope it answered your question.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Andari. Actually, we have quite a few more questions pre-prepared that the students sent in to us, but we are a little short on time, and I think we're all very curious to see the rest of your slides. So would you like to maybe continue for the role of media?
Oke, boleh sebentar aja. Yes, please. Okay, so on top of those challenges and opportunity that we have, I think we also have to remember that the roles of media is important, especially during pandemic. Here are a few things that media can do to contribute to public. Next slide, please. Yeah, the first one is as a public health communication. Yeah, so share information, credible one, yeah, based on the guideline from the authority. And then the media should also be able to connect people with credible sources, and it can act as a bridge for people who need to reach official. And now this is the last one that I think very relevant to Indonesia's case and the example that I just mentioned. Scientific and political statement should be kept separate. You cannot like give comment or write anything from the political point of view. It will be different. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, health education. Yeah, media can promote physical and psychological health measure, yeah, to ensure public knowledge. This can be like a roles of media, especially during pandemic. Next, please. Reduction of stigma and prejudice. Yeah, in Asia, racism, stigma, discrimination, prejudice still a big issues for us, big homework. Yeah, so I think with the proper check and balances, media can help prevent the spread of rumor and stigmatization of those affected by COVID. Yeah, I think the stigma. I think it's also happened in Malaysia. Yeah, the same stigma or discrimination, especially for those affected by COVID. Next slide, please. Managing infodemics, right? So in the beginning, in the earlier slide, I mentioned about infodemics. Like epidemic, infodemic can be managed. Yeah, So media can manage the issues by, for example, expert and concerned authorities, and then they also media can be utilized for, when authorities need to address the fear, concern, perception from people. And then the third one is controlling rumors. Jadi this is the way media can educate people, can the clarify role the misinformation. Next, please. And the last one, Secretary General, he said that Antonio, journalists are key to countering the dangerous outbreak of misinformation accompanying the COVID-19 pandemic. So to sum up, it is widely agreed that the roles of journalism nowadays is not only to present the information, not only to share the news or the content, but also to, filtering the information, check and recheck the information, because what left the credibility and credibility is the most important thing for journalism. In the era where everybody can get information, apakah itu benar atau hoax, tapi kan setiap hari kita mendapat berbagai informasi. I think this is the roles of journalists, the role of media to clarify things, to educate people about the check and recheck information. So we, or the media, the journalists, can manage this infodemic better. This is the way we evolve and adapt during the pandemic. Okay, that's the end of my slide. Next, I think the references, and next one. So thank you everyone. If there are still questions, I'll be happy.
Thank you so much, Ms. Andari. So will you be all right if we continue a little bit more with the Q&A session?
I write my email in the chat box, so you can reach me later after the session if you still have
that's wonderful. Thank you. So we have one question from a journalism student.
Okay.
Her name is Annie, and she asked if, since you've been in the industry for a very long time, and I'm sure you understand the nuances of the industry in Indonesia, what do you feel personally? Do you feel that there is any aspect of journalism in Indonesia that you feel could be made better, especially maybe in the short term or even long term?
Thank you. Who asked the question? The name?
Ain.
Okay, thank you, Ain. I think one most important thing to do now, back then, when I first start my journalism career more than 20 years ago, our problems is how to get information, how to approach source to get information, right? But now I think the issues is not to get information, but how to filter the information. Back then the information is limited. You can only get it from limited sources, and most of the time you can get it only from the authoritative sources, right? But now you can basically have all the sources, all the information you want, and the problem is how to filter this information. So these roles can be played heavily by journalists nowadays, by media nowadays, connected or correspond to the mis and disinformation, the flood of hoax or false news, as I mentioned in the beginning, right? So fact check, I think, is number one thing that we can improve to, like, in short term and also in long term. Fact check. Because why I specifically highlight the fact check, because sometimes, sadly, unfortunately, media can also be the agent of sharing hoax, banyak juga media yang less credible that they are part of sharing the news. Ya. Just check on media-media yang less credible. Banyak yang justru instead of educate people, instead of checking the fact, they become like they also share the hoax, yeah, with their own way. Maybe because they have hidden agenda, or simply because they don't have enough resources to check, or maybe because they don't have like enough knowledge, or maybe because of the deadline and many other problems. So I think to answer your question, fact check. Once the media improve this aspect of their fact check process, I believe quality journalism, yeah, they will get quality journalism, they will gain a trust from public, and in the end, trust and credibility is the main soul of journalism, right? Sometimes in Indonesia, dulu ya, mungkin sekarang juga masih ada, the survival and the sustainability of a media like doesn't correlate with quality. Kalau ada media yang punya pemodal kuat, there are like big investor behind the media, even if they provide like less qualified news, they can survive, tetap bisa terbit. Ya, karena modalnya ada. Tapi sekarang sudah ada kecenderungan dari publik dan justru dari pengelola media, from the newsroom and news organization themselves, they are able to create, to build new business model that also that will relate to the way they present the news. Tadi ya, crowdfunding, collaboration, grant and fellowship. I think it is also a good trend for the media, for journalism world or industry to survive in this tsunami of information era. Thank you, Aisha, and I hope it answered the question.
Okay, yes, it definitely answered the question. Thank you so much, Ms. Andari. So we have almost reached to the end of the session. I'm sure you know that we are all, most of us are all the final year journalism students. Okay. This is basically our final semester of studying, because the next semester we'll have to do our internship, and we're basically stepping foot into a world that we've only seen from the lens of a student. We don't really know the challenges that might come with it. So do you maybe have any words of advice for us, especially because the world is ever changing. We're actually graduating while a pandemic is going on. So do you maybe have anything you can tell us, words of advice?
Okay, so I think the strength of your generation is most of you are technology savvy, right? You master the whole technological thing compared to my generation or Ibu Azlina generation. Yeah, I remember in my class when I talked to a student and then he just looked at his phone. Yeah, when I talked to him, and I said, "Do look at me. It's not polite when I talk to you. You talk to your phone." And then he mentioned, "No, Miss, I just write whatever you just spoke on my phone." So at that time, he wrote something when I talk, yeah, like a skill that I would never master, yeah, multitasking at the same time. So journalism industry nowadays, back then, it's like a separate skill in a newsroom. Journalist, writer, photographer, videographer, researcher, like a different area of work. Yeah, but now it's like one package. If you are a journalist, not only you have to be able to master or to understand technology in order to from simple things, yeah, like creating video or photos, yeah, you use your mobile phone. Yeah, back then when I interview a person and sources, and then I run out of battery or suddenly my tape is like mati gitu ya, I just lost everything ya. But now technology help us to save the result of interview better. And then the second one, data. Data is key. Big data. Big data things is not only owned by students or people from IT areas, but communication, we are dealing with the data. So as a journalist, as a future journalist, you should be able to understand how to read data, how to manage data, and all the data related things, because again, related to the fact check, related to the credible information, data will become like your reference when saying something, right? So when I said a statement, it should be supported by data. It's automatically should be part of your work as a journalist. Yeah. So technology, data, and then the curiosity. I think this is like one of the timeless requirement of a journalist. Curiosity and skepticism. Yeah, dua hal ini, whenever you get information, no matter how interesting it is, no matter how surprising it is, you should still be questioning it. You should be skeptic about it. So on top of the technical thing, data, teknologi, and others, dua basic nature of journalists, skeptical and curiosity, you still have to have it. So I believe, on top of all the problems that I mentioned, all the challenges that we have nowadays, you will do better than my generation, because you are mostly equipped with lots of new things. Ya, betul ya, Bu Azlina ya. My students, for example, compared to when I was a communication student back then, they were equipped with data technology. They were equipped with entrepreneurship business thingy, right? We're not only talking about the content, how to write, how to produce things, but like whole aspect. So I think no worries, your future as journalism will be brighter because of everything that we have now. I don't like to be the one who said, when I was in my time, I don't like to be that kind of person, but I always say to my student that your era, your time is much better than mine, so make the most of it, and good luck to all of you in your final years, and later I will wait for your work as a journalist when you graduate.
Thank you so much, Ms. Andari. I think that was definitely something that we all needed, because if anything, we're quite saddened that it's our last semester in university and we have to spend it completely online.
Yes.
It's very
You
it's
are
very,
a very special batch, You survived the online class.
yeah, we should get a separate degree for that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I guess that concludes our session, sadly. But what I can say is, from what hearing the things that you said, what journalists in Indonesia experience, I can say that maybe the grass is almost just as green as the grass on this side.
Right.
We basically face quite similar problems, especially
Right.
in terms of press freedom and the credibility of information. Yeah, so I guess we really are brother, sister in all
Yes.
aspects.
So it's not greener. It's not as green as you think.
It's just about as green.
Yeah, thank you, Aisha.
Thank you so much, Ms. Andari.
Yeah.
All right. So I would like to request everyone to turn on their cameras, because we really want to take a photo together.
My favorite part.
Yes, favorite part of every meeting. Okay. By the way, this is Aina Shafika.
Hi,
She is the head of project for our Colloquium.
Congratulations, Aina. It went well all the session, Good luck for your...
Thank you.
Oh, we have boys. Finally, I see one. Hi, Farhan.
Yeah, our journalism boys are very shy.
Hi, Miss.
You cannot be shy as a journalist. You should be like in the front of everything. Nggak punya malu.
Okay, the girls are taking over 2021. Okay, so is everyone ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Yeah. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, so that basically concludes our entire colloquium. And thank you so much everyone for joining, and thank you
Thank you.
especially to Ms. Andari for
Yeah,
that
thank you.
amazing last session. Yes. If anybody has you guys want to say thank you and everything, you can unmute your mic.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Bu
Thank you,
Azima.
Miss
Thank you,
Andari.
Yasmin.
Thank you, Miss,
Yes,
for
you too. Good
everything.
luck, everyone. Hope you survive the last
Thank you,
year.
Miss.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah. Let me leave the room. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to remind the participants to fill out the registration form, and you guys can see the code on the screen. Because if you guys want the e-certificate, then you guys have to register the form. But just a second here, we're facing a little bit of a technical difficulty. Okay, so the code is on the screen, and if you're not able to scan it, the link to the Google form is in the chat box. Just scroll a little bit up, and yeah, just access it from there. Okay, so that is truly the end of our Colloquium 2020. I'm very happy and I'm very thankful to everybody who joined. We all did it. It's our final semester before internship. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to the panelists and also to me. And yeah, goodbye, signing out. Bye everyone. Have a good rest.